What is going on YouTube? My name is Minecraft. Thank you for tuning in. And today we got a deck profile. Not just any deck profile, but it is actually my first Star Wars Unlimited deck profile on the channel. And it is Jyn Erso. Hopefully I said that right. Alright, so like always, just buttons. Feel free to click up through there for a reason. My goal is try to do at least 1 Star Wars to 2 Star Wars deck profiles a week, on top of also doing 2 matches. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. That's the goal. And also kind of do more breakdown of things as well. But we're here for the profile, and with this particular leader I chose, I went with the Command Center. Now, I chose Command Center for this particular reason, for this deck, because I've only been able to get actually a hold of 1 box, and I haven't got a chance to buy a lot of product. Yes, I do have a whole proxy playset, but when I go to actual events and tournaments at our locals, I want to play real cards, because it's fair and it makes sense. So because I don't have certain cards like the Millennium Falcon, I went with a 30-point base because I wanted to make sure the cards I am playing can keep me going long enough, if that makes sense. But that is it for the base. So it makes my deck a yellow, green, white. And on the front side of the leader, so on the undeployed side, we have an action where you can attack with a unit, and then the defending unit will get -1, -0 for the attack, which is great. Kind of helps snipe certain things out of the way without your troops taking less damage. And then on the deployed side, it's just whenever a friendly unit is attacking, the defending gets -1, -0. So that's pretty much for the leader and the base itself. So for this profile, I kind of want to break it down in order of how I want to play cards, because if I just did a basic profile going, this is ground units, this is space units, this is the colors, boom, done, I wouldn't feel like I'm explaining it 100%. And I think once I show the first couple cards, you'll all begin to understand the approach. So for the first card, we got Leia, which on play either readies a resource or exhausts a unit. So you pretty much will extend your actions in this phase, or you could just, if your opponent plays a card like that, or if your opponent has a card in play that could possibly deal a lot of damage, or say if they deploy a leader, you go, all right, Leia, exhaust that troop. So Leia is an optional for turn 1. We also have the Battlefield Marine. It's a 3/3 for 2. It's not bad. And Mothra, wow. When play, searches top 5 cards of your deck for a Rebel card, reveal it, and draw it. So the approach obviously is Rebels for this deck. I wanted to make sure that I went a route that kind of unified itself together, and yellow and green had a lot of decent Rebels, and so did the white cards. So those are kind of like the ideal turn 2 plays when it comes to ground units. There's also cards like the Alliance X-Wing that you can play on turn 1. And really, you just want cheap, good cards. We also have one of the Patrolling V-Wings. I would, truth be told, play more of these just because on play, it does draw you a card. And getting more resources in your hand helps you later turns. So those are all kind of like the turn 1 plays. And now you know the idea of the deck. We're going to get into the rest of it from here on out. Obviously, for a turn, we have 3 resources. This is kind of like and I'm saying turn 1, turn 2, and I guess I need to correct that. So for phase 2, your starting play will either be the Wing Leader, which will give 2 experience tokens to a friendly Rebel unit, or the Fleet Lieutenant, which when played, you may attack with a unit. If it's a Rebel unit, it gets +2/+0. And for some reason, we didn't see either one of these cards. Other cards you could play during this step up or in later turns, we play 2 of the Echo-based defenders. It has Sentinel, which means your opponent has to deal with this card before they can attack your base or other cards. We have a Rogue Operator, 3 of. It has Saboteur, so it gets past Sentinels, which is kind of nice. But also has Raid 2, which makes it a 4/4 when attacking. Moving up to the kind of next set of Rebels we play. We got the General Dodanon. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. But he gives all other friendly Rebels a +1/+1, which just makes your Rebels a little bit stronger, helps kind of do things there. And the last kind of couple Rebel cards I play when it comes to, say, ground, one of the squadrons, skirmishers, it's ambush, and when play, you can return a unit that costs 2 or less when you discard a pile to your hand, so it kind of has a slight recovery play on, like, say, Leia or yeah, actually mainly just the Leia. Really just want to recover Leia, that way I can exhaust another card later. Truth be told, these are the Rogue Squadrons I actually played at 2 or 3 of, because I didn't have a lot of options. But after this past event, I was able to kind of get a couple more cards, which was great, and able to kind of balance my deck out a little bit better. But it's still good as a one-up for like kind of that toolboxy approach where I can, like I said, recover up Leia if I needed to. And then the last actual Rebel card I have in this deck is the Bright Hope, which has Sentinels at 2/6. And then when play, you may return a friendly non-leader ground unit to its owner's hand if you do draw a card. So kind of you can attack with a card, or in my case, once again, we're gonna go with Leia. You can attack with Leia, and then play this card and bring it back to your hand. And if you do that, you get to draw a card, and then you have Leia ready to exhaust another card down the road. Or you could bring back any of the other just kind of really decent cards. Where are they? They're at the bottom of this list. Such as like it's a ground. Nope, not that one. But you can bring back the Fleet Lieutenant. That way on another turn, you can just replay Fleet Lieutenant and get another Rebel to attack you. One of the ideas for this deck to go to is when you amass a bunch of Rebels, we do have the Rebel Assault, which you can attack with a Rebel unit. It gets +1/+0 for the attack. And then you can attack with another Rebel unit. You get +1/+0. The idea is that once you get a bunch of cards on board, you can then turn around and kind of call the initiative early. That way, you're always getting that first attack in on the next phase. And once we attack or use like a Rebel Assault to make these attacks, we can turn around and use Strike True. And that will allow us to kind of get additional damage onto enemy units to clear them out. So you could possibly, pay the one to put 2 attacks into your opponent's base, then turn around and strike true on one of your opponent's unit cards, which I think is really great, and it helps out a lot. And then after you've made these attacks, we have Metal Ceremony, which did give a experience token to up to 3 rebels that did attack this phase. So it's kind of the approach for this deck. It's just it's Sabine, but as with someone else was kind of the idea. We saw a lot of Sabines the first week we were playing, and I heard a lot of people were interested in playing Sabine. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to play a deck like that, but I want to at least experiment with other leaders, and this was kind of the best approach. And maybe I'll do a breakdown on how I came to this approach. And kind of going into the rest of the units that aren't rebels in this deck, we play one of a Han Solo. I play a second one in the sideboard, but I don't ever really see playing it much or really getting to 7 resources a lot of times. But it does have ambush, so it means on play, it can ready itself to attack an enemy unit. And then one attacking, it deals its damage before it takes damage, which is kind of nice. 3 of the Outer Rim Headhunters. It's a 2/3 when it attacks, but on attack, if I control a leader unit, I may exhaust a non-leader unit, which is kind of nice. And then one of the Strafing Gunships, which is a space unit, but it can attack ground units, and ground units have a lesser attack when they get attacked, which is kind of nice. I really want Millennium Falcons. I don't have any. Obviously, I would change them around to incorporate Millennium Falcon. I think Millennium Falcon's a great card. I just don't have access to it. And moving into kind of the rest of the deck, which is just solutions that I have when I play yellow. So first of all, we have first shot. Attack of a unit gets +1/+0 for this attack, and it does its damage first. Pretty much just Han Solo, but without having Han Solo. Disarm. Really great. Especially if your opponent were to play, deploy their leader. I can pay 1 and give their leader a -4 to its attack for this phase, which is really strong. Waylay just returns a non-leader unit to their hand, so they pay a lot for a big card that they're hoping to use. I can just go bounce it back to their hand and then continue my turn. And the last is the Surprise Strike, which gives a unit a +3/+0 attack this phase, which is pretty nice. Especially I've had turns where I've combined Surprise Attack with where's the 2 drops? Yeah, I've had that on the board. On the second turn, I played a Wing Leader. And a lot of times people go for the base. They're trying to take out the base as much as possible. So I'll play him, they'll play a unit, then second phase, I'll play this, boost them to a 5, attack their base, they'll attack my base, and then I can turn around and just go, alright, surprise attack, and then attack with 8. It's just really good when you get that off. But yeah, that's my Jyn Erso deck. Hope you all enjoy. And yeah, I want to do more of this. So let me know what you're interested in Star Wars, what you want to see more of. I do plan on doing, I think, 2 additional videos, hopefully either this weekend or early next week, about like the breakdown of like the keyword skills and whatnot, and hopefully a how to play video if you're interested in that. Let me know. All right, bye.